Don't you ever just like pick up something or watch something and then you decide to make it your whole thing?
Hey Paul, just pick the entertainer background and you can actually just be a juggler in your next character. I'll watch him go. He's so happy.
What you could do is you could make a bard who juggles, whose occupation is that they are a male prostitute, and they're also a fan of the band The Insane Clown Posse, because then they'd be a juggler, gigolo, juggalo.
As I welcome you back to Twisted Fates.
Hello.
That's an interesting introduction. Thank you, Ewan.
Yeah, we'll see
You're
how
welcome.
that goes when I go back to the recording and decide what bits to keep from that to entry into our world.
Paul's a clown, I'm the whole circus.
As moving swiftly on for Matthew to
Or
have
not.
a different type of pain this evening, not just embarrassment and secondhand embarrassment and disappointment, just, you know.
Is there such a thing as secondhand disappointment?
Matthew experiences it every day.
I would assume so. Like, if I'm disappointed, I feel Matthew can get disappointed because I'm disappointed. You know, I feel that's very secondhand disappointing.
I'm not secondhand angry. I'm secondhand disappointed.
As recapping from what happened last time, you guys finished the combat at the end of Myrr. You were able to defeat the two Northhill as well as the Blights that had remained, as well as a familiar figure to Wulfric, who had been possessed by Deirdre, his childhood friend from Hotzul Hrafn, who perished in the fight in a firestorm set by Evelios, Marcusar's father, where we then got to kind of deal with the aftermath, which was relatively interesting. The boys kind of got to see around the camp, got to see who was left, got to see who was injured. Eidolon obviously tended to quite a few of them to make sure that none of the injured were actually infected. Marcusar got to speak to his dad, very much in denial at first that it was his dad.
Could you blame me?
No, your dad was dead, you saw him die, you were there as he died, and this random elf.
I said words.
This
At the
random
very
elf
least, you
shows
didn't
up.
have to watch your dad die a second time.
That's true.
Why have you tempted fate? Twisted fate.
Hey, that's the name of the show.
Roll credits, finally.
As they got to have a little bit of a heart-to-heart, where this version of Evelios, this version of Marcusar's father, wasn't quite how he remembered him, though that's because a lot of the stuff that had happened to make him how he was towards the end of his life hadn't happened yet. So this version was arguably a lot more understanding to Marcusar's changes in perspectives, his changes in thought, his attitudes towards the She, even towards the Dream's Door, but like any father towards their child, was very certain and adamant in the fact that Marcusar was somehow special, that he had been chosen by the She to do something, where Marcusar, quite sorrowful, was, I guess, questioning that and maybe arguing almost that maybe he wasn't special, maybe he was just like everyone else, and he wasn't meant to do anything great, he was just meant to help people. Very heartfelt conversation with your dad, Paul. But it wasn't the only heartfelt conversation we had, as Ran got to have a little heart-to-heart with his dad, too, after speaking to the elders and, yeah, learning that he's essentially been exiled. That they'll put in a good word for him, but they can't guarantee that he'll actually be allowed back into the encampment after going against the word of the elders. A word is all he can get. But from his father, he was able to find out how he and his mother met through quite stalkerish means when they were both very young children. His dad kind of just pursued her and she kept avoiding him, but he wasn't really going to give up. But it turned out that it wasn't through unreciprocated feelings, but instead through a worry from his mother, from Frida, that her abilities, her powers, her magic would essentially curse the lives of her, Nook, and then whatever children they had. Where he then got to learn about an agreement they had made that they would never have a child until his mum changed his mind, or changed her mind. And they had Ranaagash, where he then got to learn that because they had Ranaagash, because his mum had something to focus on, to better herself with, her visions were still part of her, but they weren't as problematic. until the elders started, using her son. And then they became slightly more problematic, where she herself got exiled and moved to Kinreen. Turns out your mum's quite emotional as well. But the boys, my boys, we are starting today, picking up where we left off from last time. As Eidolon, Wolfric, you guys will have had your kind of heart-to-heart, less so, about Deirdre and the Blight, your theories about Reuven Theotoris and the Wolf, possibilities of what to do when you guys get to Ilvania. And Marksar, you'll have obviously just left your father, and Ranaagash, you'll have left yours, as you have essentially the rest of the afternoon and into the evening to wander around camp and talk to who you want to talk to before you should probably get on the road, find somewhere to camp away from the encampment, and then get back onto the main road to Kinreen to continue your journey elsewhere.
Well, it's more first and foremost, this is where Ranaagash lives, so if he's got other people to speak to, this is his only last, in his life for a long time, chance to. So.
Yeah, this is kind of his last opportunity, so he takes it.
Ran, you have the floor.
Yeah, I was about to say that's me being given the floor. Right.
This isn't you just being given the floor. This is everybody left the floor, and now there's an audience coughing awkwardly as nobody's on the floor.
Where's the
And you're the
cricket
only
noise?
person behind the wings.
I shall awkwardly step onto this vacant stage then,
Applause.
and make my way towards the chieftain.
So Bartak had quite a heated combat, emphasis on activating his rage several times, where coming to the end of combat and him winding down, Markasar obviously gave him the news that one of his wives was dead. So you will have, obviously in your time seeing people in camp, seen Bartak go back to his tent. We're going into the tent obviously to find him. His wives and children are in the main living area. The curtains have been drawn to the sleeping quarters. However, very heavy-footed, you can kind of hear him pacing.
Oh boy. I'm not going to make things better, am I?
I mean, it depends what you're going to go and say to him.
I shall proceed, regardless, and find him.
He is pacing the floor. You can see that there are quite a lot of blighted corpses in here that have started to rot and decay. The kind of almost mulchy sludge from their flesh is now all over the bedroom floor, as well as one of his wives, his eldest wife, who doesn't look in a great state, considering she was attacked, and well, this is the first time you've seen, I guess, a blighted injury on an orc, but thankfully there is not a mist for her to rise. She is decaying a lot faster because of the infection, however. As you can see him more running a hand through his hair, not really sure what to do or what to say.
Hey.
Hey? As he kind of stops in his tracks.
How's... Sort of just looks down at, the everything on the floor. How are you holding up?
Our friends and family are dead or dying. Most are injured. Everything is in ruins, though I need to thank your friend. It could have been a lot worse, but I promised her I'd protect her. That I would look after her and her children.
Sorry.
No. You did the best you could. Your friends did the best they could. I just need to start considering if the way of my father and the way of his fathers is even worth it. The elders are supposed to look after us. They're supposed to give us advice and wisdom. Our fighters are strong, yes, but their magic is unrivaled, and they fled. They ran away. They left everyone here to die, apart from Dalarash and Shotha. If you hadn't been here, if Eidolon hadn't been here and the other two...
That's unfair.
Hey, we're the other two.
I dread to think what would have happened today.
Are you suggesting what I think you're suggesting?
Well, that depends. You're usually a lot less violent than I am.
Are you planning a coup?
Is it really a coup if I'm the chief?
There's a word for this, but I cannot find it, but... Sure, yes, I suppose.
Ran, if you hadn't gone and spoken to Dalarash, if you hadn't gone and spoken to Shotha, the two of them would have likely been off in their sanctuary too.
You're not wrong there.
If I and the other hunters hadn't had Shotha's healing, well, I'd probably be the same as Dami. And several of the others.
Right, I can't be much help with that. It's... My options are either to leave, or to wait and face what the other three elders want with me. It's either my head on a pike or, well, pried open for their use again.
So you're getting your arse out of camp then?
That I am.
Well, at least that means I don't have to kick you out.
In a way, I'd prefer that.
Yeah, but would you survive it?
Point taken.
You were pretty hardy in that fight.
Thanks. I try.
Just never took you as the fighting type.
Something you have to get used to on the road. No, I'll be out of here by sundown, I think. If not sooner.
Well, if you've not, say goodbye to your dad.
Don't worry if this came from there.
Then I'd offer you dinner, but I'm no cook, and I don't think my family's quite in the mindset.
No. No. Oh yeah. Don't think I'll be eating here. But no, the offer is appreciated.
He kind of comes over and puts a hand on your shoulder. Bastard, if anything does change in this wood, well, I'll send word to your mother, and then you know you can come home.
Thank you.
They probably won't thank you for it. They'd probably rather kill you for it. But a lot of people in this forest are alive because of you today. You saved my arse again.
How many times is that now?
Who's keeping count, you know? Stop counting.
No, I'm. What are you talking about?
I could see it there. Stop it.
No.
I count 2. 2 big ones. The ones in between the 2 don't count.
All right, if you insist.
Chief. Not chief. 2 times.
All right, twice.
You just came home and you're fucking off again.
Fortunately, yes.
Why can't anything ever be easy with you, bastard?
Fortunately, life's not cut out for me that way.
Well, I have some things I should really deal with. But do me a favour and apologise to Eidolon for me. I think I may have been a bit rash in the combat.
I'll pass the message on. That's fine.
I do appreciate what he did, but seeing everything in a clearer lens, I, as always, was too rash with a lot of things. Fuck off before I get all teary-eyed and sentimental.
Sort of turn and head at the door, give him like a mock salute, and just try not to get killed while I'm gone.
No promises, bastard.
Head out the door.
You get a look from one of, or kind of his younger wife, though sense kind of comes over to you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, no, that's
kind of gives you a smirk as she hears him calling. Don't worry, I'll try to look after him.
thank you.
Thank you, Ranaagash.
Least I could do.
Well, if you hadn't been here, he might be dead. And if your friends hadn't been here, a lot more of us could have been dead. I'd like to say I'll see you around, but I don't know if that will be sooner rather than later.
I have a feeling later, unfortunately.
Well, you always know how to sneak in. So if you're ever
Good.
in the forest,
Mm-hmm. I could, yes, but will I? Let's see, how much do I fear the elders? Well, we'll see.
well, it's not like any of us are going to turn you in, so you don't have that to worry about, and you've always been quite light on your feet.
You have a point.
Well, you're not going to be sneaking in with Bartak, so...
Make it a lot easier.
And unless you bring one of those metal men with you, I don't think you'll be making much noise.
Perhaps sooner then. But we'll see.
I do wish you luck.
Thank you.
And she kind of awkwardly stands before going in for a hug.
I shall return.
She is a lot more, I guess, your size and stature, so it's not quite bear hug style. More petite orc style. Is you get awkward hug. As you head out of Chieftain's tent, you obviously have Marksar, Eidolon, and Wolfric. They're kicking about camp. What kind of guys would you be doing? Well, what kind of guys would you be doing? Strange question.
That's a really interesting question just to ask out of the blue, Em.
Yeah, I know.
I go for the strong silent type. Eidolon.
What would the three of you be doing in the interim whilst Ran is with Bartak?
Wolfric's just packing up.
Grabbing all your stuff, setting off, or getting ready to set off.
I'll be using the specialized whetstone I got a while back just to make sure the obsidian blade is still sharp, as that was a lot of usage I just got.
Yeah. And what about Marcusar?
Probably just like if there was any like wounded still suffering from the battle, just tending to them, trying to be the best druid I can, especially because my dad was here like a second ago. Like I need to
Yeah, he's still kicking.
impress him.
He's still kicking around, though. With your passive perception, Eidolon, you'll also kind of notice this more in the corner of your eye, as you guys will be, or you'll probably be near Wolfric, kind of just watching him pack up. You notice that as the afternoon kind of goes on, Evelios starts to almost limp around rather than walk around.
Is there any noticeable signs of an injury?
Nope.
I feel like this is gonna be one of those things like he's not supposed to be here, so his body's like rejecting it. Like into the Spider-Verse, you know, when they go to the different universe, their atoms aren't very jazzed to be in a different dimension.
They're not very jazzed.
That's the exact phrase they use in the movie.
They're not jazzed.
To be fair,
So-
it wouldn't bother Eidolon. If it's bothering Marcusar, that'll be the only person.
But we're like just on the way out of camp now, aren't we? Like this is
Well, you
Last
guys are obviously center camp. If you're healing people, you'll kind of be in there, so you'll obviously see Ranaagash come out. Your dad is still in that area as well. Eidolon, Wolfric, you guys will be more south in the camp, more towards the hunters' tents, as you'll kind of be gathering the stuff you obviously left behind in the tent that morning. Just reconvening and taking a breath, making sure you've got everything, making sure everything's secure, knowing that wherever you are to go after Kinreen, you guys are going to be on the road for a while. So the two of them are preparing. So you're kind of Ran, Marcusar, you're on kind of the left-hand side of camp, and Eidolon and Wolfric are more on the right-hand side of camp.
We're essentially staying until Ranaagash is done, because this is his last chance, considering he's getting fucking banished.
yeah. It was more like if I can go over to Evelios and like, well, that's us heading. Is there anything else you need before we go? But I'll probably go up to him and just ask him about his leg.
You know, I've not really noticed it.
I mean, did you suffer any injury during the battle?
None other than some bruising. I showed the gentleman over there.
But this isn't any bruising that's caused this limp.
No, but once I have tended to some of these orcs, I will likely take a rest before I find myself on the road.
I would not strain yourself. Take as much time to rest and heal as you need. The world out there is dangerous, and perhaps you might be safest here.
Yes.
You know that better than anyone, Marksar.
Yeah.
That may be true, but even if a version of me has already passed in this life, I'd still like to see Halden one last time.
Of course. But Hilda's not going anywhere. You have all the time.
Well, we're nearly in winter. The forests will keep changing.
The winters aren't so bad in Halden. But I suppose you do want to see it while it's still green.
I would also like to see what you've made of the place.
We got big changes, you know. We got a bar, you know. I knocked through that wall that you set up all those years ago. Unrecognizable, you know.
I mean, kind of. It's very barren at the moment.
Yeah, don't want him to know that.
You know, half the people are dead.
Eidolon, fuck off. I might not be there to welcome you, but Dorhallen will be there. He will welcome you with open arms.
Then it is a journey I look forward to.
We're just packing up our stuff at the moment. Ranaagash is saying his final goodbyes. And I think we'll be back on the road ourselves.
Then still I wish you luck. And again, I know you may not feel like it, but I still feel you were meant for something more.
Noted. I appreciate your faith in me.
It would seem even in the time of my death, I still had faith in you.
Again, thanks.
Do you go in for awkward dad hug again? Round 2?
No, I learned my lesson the first time. Maybe I like go for it. I do the like, oh, no, okay, and then like extend a hand.
If you extend a hand, he will take it. It is a much more like, I guess, friendly handshake than like a formal handshake. Not quite elbow to elbow, but like clasp of
Very
the hand.
elven, you know.
Is in your peripherals Ran obviously exiting Bartak's tent. Is there anywhere else you would go, Ran, or would you reconvene with the group?
Basically want to do just a last call around the camp and just see people, which is basically just an opportunity for you to throw any NPC you want at me.
Matthew Tess, if you know the notes.
This is the Matthew Quickfire round.
No, this is when he opens the dock in the background.
No, Matthew, you need to keep it closed. You need to see if you can do this by memory.
Like glanced at it, I didn't look at it. I have it open. One is locked.
Going around the camp, obviously this is your first time to see the, I guess, aftermath of the battle. You're able to see the injured and you're able to see the dead. On a positive of familiar faces, there aren't as many dead as you... I mean, it doesn't help the numbers, there are quite a lot of dead, but there's not as many you recognise. Which I guess gives you some relief, as at least it's not people you grew up with that are, you know, dead and being burned. That's not to say that there aren't some amongst them. Positives, all the hunters you grew up with and all the hunters Bartak grew up with are amongst the injured, not amongst the dead. So you have like Myrr, Morg and Katak, who are all sitting being treated. For yourself, one of the only other half-orcs in the camp, as you're kind of pacing around, talking to some of the hunters, just saying farewell, you can see that Kadba, one of the older orcs living on the outskirts, who likely was out hunting when the battle took place. You can see him a little bit battle scarred, a little bit wounded. He is carrying a body, likely from the hunting grounds, one that you were not quite aware of, as he is carrying the body of Kressel back into camp, which you only really recognise it as him because of his garb and because Kadba picked up his weapon. There isn't much left of him, both from injury and aftermath. It seems like the blighted creatures kind of had their way and then left his body there. Thankfully not in a decaying sense or in a rotting sense, but also not in a whole sense, as he is left amongst the dead. Moving around, you can also see that quite a lot of Shotha's acolytes are dead. The more, I guess, upsetting for Ranaagash is, well, technically all of you will have seen this because she'll have been on the battlefield and quite close to the hunters' tents as some of the orcs will have been moving her around, is for the three of you who aren't too familiar with Orcus aging. She probably looks about 16, 17, so late teens. Ranaagash, you know that Riva was only about 14 when she was on the battlefield, and she, in a very similar sense to Kressel, also seemed to die quite quickly, and, well, you can now see why Bartak was so angry during the fight. And it seems that she was sent to at least assist him to some degree and was killed in the process. Shotha is tending to as many as she can, and as you're kind of moving around, almost moving back towards the hunters' tents, as that's where you know the rest of the group will be reconvening there, you notice that Drenna is being treated by Shotha. You can see that she has quite a lot of, thankfully not infected wounds, they're more weapon wounds, most likely from these blighted Iron Dragons and Watchmen that were a part of the fight, but Grey is not there. The younger of the two sisters is not there.
Right. Okay.
Though, I guess positive as well, you've also not seen her amongst the dead. She just doesn't seem to be in the camp.
Okay.
Although that's the dead that are present here. She might be elsewhere. If that is a thought that perhaps crosses his mind.
Out of closure, if nothing else, would be nice. So I would do the potentially... Is it stupid? I don't know. Do the thing, and I shall inquire as to where.
Inquire with?
Her sister, the older one. Drenna?
Yeah, Drenna.
Yes.
As heading over, Shotha seems to have depleted a lot of her magical capabilities for the day, spell slots and all that, and is going back to good old-fashioned medicine, as you can see her taking rags and cloths and bandages, salves, herbs, and treating the wounds and injuries with old-fashioned splints and medicine. As, what do you say as you head over?
Let's not open with it. Let's open with, how are you holding up?
She kind of looks at you, takes her arm from Shotha. Shotha, sensing awkwardness, awkwardly leaves. Almost like she knows something that either she shouldn't probably know or knows something that you'll probably find out soon anyway. She kind of shuffles away from the background. As Drenna tries to sit up, you can see that a lot of her ribcage is bandaged up to her arm in a splint, where she kind of stops trying to sit up and continues to hunch over. I've definitely been better. That's putting it lightly as well.
Yeah, I can see.
Not gonna lie though, the help we had in the hunting grounds, if they weren't there, I probably wouldn't be here. So.
That's good.
What about yourself?
I'm in one piece. A lot more that can be said for most people. Oh, I'll take it.
I wasn't really meaning physically. You know, this being all your fault and all that.
Well, on the one hand, Myrr is mostly okay, but on the other, I can't stay to see it.
So, they are giving you the boot then?
Yes and no. It's not a formal exile, it's Chotha and awkwardly gestures and Dalar basically said if I'm not out of here by sunrise, well, who knows what the other three will want with me.
Probably the same thing they wanted before, just you won't be able to leave their tent.
That's about right. That seems like... yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that maybe Shotha was lying about that.
Fortunately not.
Yeah. Then I kind of just wish she was perhaps a bit more tact about it.
I'm paraphrasing to be fair, but yeah, this is rather brutal or blunt.
It's more when my sister asks, is Ranaagash staying? And Shotha goes, no, he's leaving in the morning.
Where is she? If you don't mind me asking.
She ran off, Ran.
She's alive, I suppose, so that's good.
Shotha healed her up, sorted her shoulder, sorted her leg. And obviously you came up in conversation. Because why wouldn't you? And Shotha told her. So she's likely off sulking somewhere.
Maybe not a bad idea. See her at least once more. Maybe soften the blow a little bit.
Good luck finding her. Like, I don't know what you've been doing on the 5, maybe 6 moons you've been away. I don't know if you've become more perceptive in that time.
No, of course not. No.
Then yeah, you've got no hope of finding her.
I have my ways with magic, and I have people who are perceptive and can help.
Oh boy, we're getting employed.
Oh boy.
I wish them luck.
Well, needed, I suppose.
My sister rarely is found unless she wants to be found.
Alright.
Hey, Ran.
Yeah,
Good luck wherever you end up.
thank you. Hopefully it's back here eventually.
Hey. Never say never.
Indeed.
Just next time, try not to bring an army of dead folk with you.
I'll see what I can do.
Just if you could be so kind.
I'll try.
She doesn't go for awkward hug.
No, she can't.
She can.
No.
However, Shotha had left several things behind, and most likely medicinal purposes, though she takes it and just drinks it anyway. Most likely a lot of painkillers a lot at once. Swigs it back like a tanker of ale. Where do you go now, Ranaagash?
Right, let's... Do I try and cheat my way into perception now, or do I wait? In fact, I think... okay. Give me 2 seconds to just do a bit of note-taking, and then I'll get back to you.
Gasp! Matthew takes notes. Who would have guessed?
In other news, water is necessary to live.
Just while Matthew's typing, I
Hello.
think Wulfric would have headed over to the place where Hrafen got incinerated.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
And you just kind of stand there.
I'd give him a wee bit, but after a short bit, I'd head over to where Wulfric is. And I'd give him a bit of silence for just a few seconds. Then more just... Got any stories to share about him? It's always best to tell over a grave.
Too many. Man had too much brains, not enough common sense.
Wow, sounds starkly similar to someone we've met recently.
I think he had more of a future than just following me. He had folk back home. Charlie could have done something else rather than doggedly pursuing his dead best friend.
Gotta give him credit. If he came this far, that means he at least believed you were still alive.
You know, they say you really gotta live with the hand you're dealt with. Either fold when you can or you go bust. and I'm looking to deal out of this game pretty soon. There's not
I mean,
much place left in fighting for a guy like me. I know 30's not old, but in my line of work, I might as well be ancient.
You've fought a lot more than 30 years. At least for you, you only seem to really have one card left.
And I'm looking to get this ace on the table, and then collect my winnings.
At what point do you guys just start singing The Gambler?
At what point do we just start gambling, Paul?
You gotta know when to hold him and when to fold him.
I know where my future lies. As uncertain that may be. There's an old quote from a book I read in some library ages ago. It says there's no country for old men.
You're canonicizing a lot of real world things, Ewan.
A lot of
It's like my favorite movie, and like
I've just canonicized Paul's favorite movie. It's now a book. It's now a book in this universe.
I mean, it was based off a book.
You should be happy,
Yeah.
Paul.
I know, but like still, it riles me up. So
Hey,
Wolfrick's the only one that's read shit that could possibly be a movie and therefore a pop culture reference.
I've just read history, so Ewan's the only one who's legally allowed to make pop culture references. Well, the last step is just making sure you put a dragon in the ground, and well, after what we've been through, that's not exactly the most difficult of steps to follow through anymore.
Yeah. Let's get. We best be getting on our way soon, but let's let Ran sort of things out.
As much as we are in a rush, we can't rush Ran here.
Mhm.
I'll leave you here to say any last goodbyes or private thoughts you might have.
I'm not saying my last goodbyes here. That implies this is where I'm leaving him. I'm not letting him. I'm not letting him lay so far from home.
That's respectable. You taking his weapon?
There was nothing left. All I've got are memories on the wind.
Far better than what he ended as. There was no place.
I'll write his name in a book. Write something about him. Because my memory will fade, but that paper will stay the same.
Hey, you got a good 50 years to get it down. I'm sure your memory's not gonna slip that soon.
Yeah. Writing ain't such a bad idea.
I mean, you'll have the time.
Cataloguing.
I can't imagine it.
I don't reckon this would make for a very good children's story.
Thought about young adult?
That's what I was thinking.
Wolfric is the pioneer YA fiction author.
Wolfric's like, you know how there are just people in history who invented random things that are in no way connected to each other? Wolfric's that for this universe, the inventor of YA fiction and the grilled cheese.
That sounds about right.
Out of all of us, Wolfric is going to go down in history, because if we finish this, Wolfric saved the world, invented grilled cheese, and started writing YA fiction.
Meanwhile, Marcusar learned that his cult was not a cult.
And
Hey.
died twice.
Also, just a visual note for the ASI, Wolfric is looking noticeably more hench.
Oh, strength up?
Yeah, strength 20.
Ah, strength 20!
let's go.
It's taken so much longer than it should have because you're a paladin now.
8th level feels like so long ago.
It technically was quite a while ago. It was like the beginning of episode 3.
Technically, I can't represent what Eidolon's new high stat is.
His brain is bigger, but not that kind of brain. His other
It's not
brain.
even my brain is bigger. My eyes are just more attentive.
Sharp. Sharp as attack.
Have you noted, Matthew?
Yes, I have noted.
Are you cheesing perception or are you doing it legitimately?
First things first is I shall make the gang
TM.
aware of what's going on, so they don't think I'm just
Fucking off.
booking it.
I mean, you
But
could
yeah.
be, but I don't think you get very far. Eidolon has a lot of movement speed.
Mm.
And I can see you.
Don't do that, Craig. That's kind of weird and creepy. As the gang is back together again.
We're getting the gang
Yeah.
back together.
Fur, we're getting the gang back together.
Dude, we're getting the band back together.
Sinmaya is Ferb, Ranaagash is Phineas.
Fantastic.
We're the band.
Yes. As you reconvene with Ranaagash as part of the group this time.
Aren't you a little young to have prophetic visions? Why, yes. Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. We ready to be on the move?
Not quite. I have good news and bad news.
Oh, there's always good news and bad news, just...
Good news is that I only have one person left to see. Bad news is we gotta find her.
Fine, did they go missing in the battle, or...?
They left. Not far, mind you. Likely into the forest or something.
Am I to take this as a war isn't for everybody, or...?
War never changes.
No,
a
it's...
series of proxy battles?
How do I put this? They did not like learning that I am to leave.
This wouldn't happen to be the person Bartak mentioned last night, would it?
Did he mention it last night? It's been like 2 weeks, I can't remember.
God,
I
Matthew,
didn't write it down.
time-stamping this recording. Yeah, he did.
Okay.
He actually teased you about her.
Yes, then I will lie heavily and go, yes, it would be the same.
Okay, so I guess my question is, you're asking us, but wouldn't your book be able to tell you where they are?
It is, yeah. Thought I'd make you aware of what I'm doing.
Ah. Alright. Well, we're here whenever you finish.
Right.
Don't rush anything. We're on a schedule, but today, take as much time as you need.
Thanks. And I shall crack open Sinmaya and start looking.
Crack open a cold one with the boy.
I mean, he might be a bit chilly. It is getting, like, wintry, so his pages might be a bit crisp.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing as you crack him open?
I was gonna say, is just putting in, would be just putting in grey enough?
I mean, she doesn't have a surname.
No.
Most orcs don't.
No. Is this plot important enough that I need to cast a spell for it, or are we just...
I like how you
Ah.
ask this.
I asked because I have 3 spell slots left, and it's kind of an important question.
What levels of spell slots do you have left?
2 first and a single fourth.
Oof. You don't have very many spell slots left, Ran.
Almost like we just warred M.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, he actually ended it with more than me. As you write her name in Sinmaya's book, where you kind of see the pages get a little confused, as it is Orcish heritage and it's not as, I guess, well written down or chronicled as a lot of other histories. Orcish traditions tend to be oral rather than written. So there are big chunks where Sinmaya seems to be missing information about her past or her heritage. But that's not really that important to you. You're just trying to figure out where she is at the moment. Where the pages kind of stop, it does continue, the writing continues to scroll, but something stands out to you as Sinmaya is writing her history, so going through her childhood and that sort of thing. As it would appear that when she was young, as well as when she was older, obviously not telling anyone, hence Drenna couldn't tell you anything about where she might have gone, but it seems that not too far from the ritual grounds, still quite a bit into the forest but not too far from there, she made a hideout for herself in the trees where no one could find her, as there are not very many people in Myrr other than her, and Chrysel occasionally. You knew him to be able to somewhat scale the trees, but no one else in Myrr could climb the redwoods, so she hid herself up in the redwoods and has been retreating there ever since, at least according to the pages.
All right, that's a good lead. Thank you, Sinmaya.
Is closing the book, you hear him laugh. What? Why is this one so special?
I'm not going to dignify that with a response.
You just kind of hear him as you're putting himself away. What? You write a girl's name in my book? I'm going to ask. Don't put me back in the... And then you put him back in the satchel.
You sound like my mother.
You just hear the like quiet voice from the bag in the back of your head going, you know what? The bag doesn't do anything. I can still talk to you. You can still hear me. The bag just makes me quieter. Like, I'm still here, you know.
Why is this the one time that he's like eager and willing? He was like a lazy house cat. But no.
Lazy house cats are lazy until they're interested in something, and then they're not very lazy anymore.
Okay. I shall head in direction of where the hell I think this is.
Give me a survival check.
This will be fun. Wait, did I still have a portent, right? I
Nope.
do not.
You have no portents.
He's just straight. Excellent. I'm going to get lost in the forest and die.
That's a very big possibility.
No, I'm not. Never mind.
I stand corrected.
You might die trying to scale a tree.
Yeah, you do have to get up a redwood-sized oak tree, which is not the easiest thing to do in the world.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
As you head off towards the ritual grounds, the three of you obviously aware of what Ran is doing. He's off looking for someone. You kind of see him disappear past the elders' tents, past the healers' tents, and back into the forest towards where you took the right, where you passed through the shrine of Maktor. You obviously take quite a wide berth of the barrier as you no longer have the ward. So, you know, you don't want to get burned by radiant holy light. It was a bit stingy the first time. Don't really want to try it again without Dalarash's magic. As you take to the trails, a lot of overgrown trails, but enough that they have been frequented that you can follow them to some degree with your 21. Where you find yourself at the base of a collection of redwood trees, where this overgrown, trodden path seems to almost encircle and disappear. However, with your passive perception, you're not able to know if this is actually the tree she's climbed up, or it just so happens she's used this tree to go somewhere else.
Okay.
You could roll me an active perception check.
You know what? Sure. I pick this every time. It's a -1. That's the exact same as my passive.
It is, yeah. As Matthew, what do? You don't. Even with an active perception check, you can't work out if this is where she is.
I know nothing, and I see nothing. So, right, next least cost option is to just call out her name and see if I get a response.
Just scream it into the forest. No, you don't.
Don't. Okay. Not helpful. So, let's look at my spells, shall we? Because I do not have many of them available. I think I'm probably just gonna have to go with locate creature. Let me check the wording for it. And if it just says up, I'm going to be very disappointed. You sense the creatures moving. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Okay. Locate creature.
Locate creature. Up.
Any specific, like up and to the left, or just
up.
Straight up, or just up?
Just straight up.
Just up.
From where you're standing at the base of the tree, she is apparently somewhere within 1,000 feet, right up above you.
Okay. So that was a waste of a 4th level spell slot. So
what a fucking useless spell.
I mean, it's not necessarily useless. He knows she's up there. She's maybe just not responding to him.
Let's check. Let's check something else. Before I kill myself trying to climb a tree.
Would have just loaned you my boots, they'll let me teleport.
Only up to 30 feet, though. He would have got 30 feet up the tree and fallen back down.
I could wild shape into a bird and fly up there.
Yeah, but you can't take him with you.
I could be a big bird.
Okay, so option. Can I like attempt to just wildly message up there? Just see if I can get a response like that.
Why do you need to message? Why can't you just shout?
Because I don't know. I'm just trying options here. Don't know if it's unresponsive or if it just didn't go through. I don't know.
Just the dial tone.
Okay. No.
Wildly messaging, you don't know the exact of where she is and you can't see her, so you cannot locate her for a message.
No. Right. Before I begin this very stupid odyssey up this tree, I'm going to note for everyone here that I have 60 health points, and I do not expect to have 60 health points when I am done. So,
We'll just keep that number in mind.
yes, just bear that in mind.
Remember this number. This number is important.
So what check do I have to make to climb a tree?
Strength.
Strength, just straight strength? Or
Athletics if you've got it, but I don't know if you do.
why do I have athletics?
You
Oh
have
yes,
it?
because I'm a half-orc.
Oh yeah.
That's why.
So, with athletics.
That's... Oh jeez.
That's actually pretty good.
I'm doing it.
As you start to climb the tree. With relatively little difficulty, though you are, I guess, not too far off the ground. So, you know, there's that going for you as well. As I guess you've got a little bit of confidence climbing the tree as, well, if you fall, it's not really going to hurt at this point in time. Can you give me another one?
Yes, that's... Okay.
Ran's actually a pretty good climber by the looks of things. If you give me 2
Strange
seconds...
skill. Wait, are you proficient in that, Matthew?
Yes.
At tree climbing.
I'm a half-orc, I have athletics. It's like, that +5 is 80% proficiency bonus.
Okay. Okay, so your speed at the moment is 30 feet. Okay. Or your walking speed is 30 feet.
What's the rules for climbing?
I'm not going to take them into account at the moment because I think your climbing speed is half of your walking speed. Either that or it's like your strength mod in feet. So I'm just going to take your base walking speed as your climbing speed because you're doing very well on your rolls. The reason I'm saying this is I've just looked up the size of a redwood tree.
Yeah,
They're like the biggest tree.
Yeah. So...
Please don't
Oh,
tell
he's
me
got a
she-
lot left.
Please don't tell me she's literally all the way at the top.
Not quite.
Okay.
Divided by 30.
He's got a lot of feet left to go.
6.6, so we'll say another 5. Another 5, please, Matthew.
Another 5 athletic checks.
But, like, do them
Okay.
one by one in case you fall.
Okay, I can't do my macro. +5. 1.
Okay, so you're starting to struggle a little bit as you get up to the 90-foot mark. It's starting to become quite a tall tree.
Mark!
2.
Okay, we're still okay.
3.
How are you gonna get down?
Yep, I'd still say you're alright.
4.
Your grip's starting to go. You know, you're at...
On the DC.
You're starting to get to, what, 180 feet?
Okay.
It's
He's falling
very
apart.
high. Very high indeed. Ran is not particularly liking this very much, but you're still able to hold on. Can I have another one? Thank the Lord.
I think I was more tense for that than I was the whole battle.
Well, that would have been 20
D6 for every
d6.
10 feet.
That would have
20d6.
That would have been 20 d6 damage if you fell from that height.
I mean, you still have to
That
get
would
down,
have killed
Ran.
me.
You You still have to get down. Don't forget that.
Do you want to know the funny thing about that, Matthew? Terminal velocity in D&D is 20d6.
I'm literally poised. Like, you roll average, I'm dead.
Bleeding on
As
the floor.
you kind of scramble up, you take the awkward thing of looking down, starting to get a bit shaky, put your foot in the log, and there is thankfully a branch, quite a hefty branch, that gives you enough to scramble up and throw yourself over. Enough that, despite now being 200 feet in the air, you are at least secure. Though that's not saying much, as this is the highest you've ever been. With very little support in the way. Though up here is relatively nice. You have quite a good view across the forest. You can see all the way down to the ritual grounds and the encampment. There are some branches of other trees blocking a fully clear view, but it's still quite beautiful from up here. The branch itself is also quite long, and you notice about maybe halfway down it, a lot of the upper branches or smaller branches and leaves have been woven together to create almost like a makeshift treehouse that from the ground would go completely unnoticed.
Okay, Gee, I wonder where I need to go. How far away is it?
It's about halfway along the branch, so about maybe 60-70 feet from the centre trunk where you're currently pressed against.
Okay. What dice do I need to roll?
Dex, acrobatics if you've got it, to see how good you are at balancing this high up.
Oh boy. Okay.
You're pretty shaky, you're not very stable, and as the branch starts to narrow out, you start to feel yourself wavering even more so. Though perhaps only a few feet before the door when you start to feel yourself properly shaking as the branch starts to sway as you can feel the wind moving through the tree. You are grabbed and dragged into the house. Because thankfully her dexterity is a lot better than yours.
I'd imagine, given she climbs up here on a somewhat regular basis.
Is you're brought into the house and immediately let go as you kind of stumble onto the wall and stumble onto the kind of side. You see that she's not brought a lot up here. It's obviously quite haphazardous to get stuff up here. But quite a lot of bedrolls, blankets have kind of just been bundled on the ground. And quite a lot of candles have been brought up here as well, where she likely just sits at night. None of them are obviously lit at the moment, because it is the afternoon. But she does avoid you quite quickly.
Yeah, of course. This was never going to be easy, was it?
Mm-mm.
You chose this.
Actually, no, I chose this. And
I woke up and chose to be compassionate.
Yeah. Now you're 200 foot up in our treehouse.
None of us can get to you now.
Actually, you can. You can run up vertical surfaces.
Shh.
He can, he just doesn't want to.
Thank you, Ewan.
Okay, let's... Right. Let's do this, shall we? So... I'm aware that you've been told about my departure.
She doesn't respond.
No, I was expecting that. Fortunately, there's not an awful lot I can do. Either this or wait and see what the rest of the elders want to do with me. And I'd rather not find out. I've been around most of the camp already. Spoken to your sister. He said ran off somewhere, and I figured I don't know when I'll be back. So here I am for at least one last time.
You could have died climbing the tree.
I am very aware. As he'd sort of just try and make eye contact with like his bloodshot eyes that are like still kind of wide open. You know the image of like the startled owl? Or just the wide ass. dilated pupils. That's kind of what you looks like right now.
Hey, you
that moment.
are an owl.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have just left when I didn't come when you called my name.
I could have, yes.
And you could have just left without saying goodbye, because you did that last time too.
I could have, yes.
So what makes this time any different?
Oh, for one, I don't know when I'll be back. And not even like last time. Because at least last time I had a definite thing I needed to do. This just lasts as long as the elders are alive and holding a grudge.
Still doesn't really explain why you climbed a 200-foot tree.
I wanted to know you're still alive.
I am. Shotha helped. I was pretty injured after the fight, but she used her last of her magic to help. So where are you going?
North, I believe. Find who's responsible for this and stop them from doing anything like it again. And after that, we'll see.
But you're not coming back here.
Not anytime soon, I don't think.
Do you need any help?
I wouldn't ask that from you. It's... Well, you saw what it was like today. It's likely only going to get worse. Or be worse. I can ask you to come with me.
I guess not. How do you plan on getting down?
I was hoping you would have an answer to that question. Please don't tell me it's just climb down again.
I mean, kind of.
Alright. Okay.
I don't really know what to say, Ran.
That's entirely understandable.
I thought when you came back, you'd stay back. And, well, I don't really know if it was obvious, but well, I really like you. And I hoped when you came back, I could find out if you liked me.
Right. Okay.
It doesn't matter.
No, it's... Well... Rothak's been right for... half as long as he says he's had been. That's quite a while you've been waiting to say this. And that's... a lot of emotional investment. I'm afraid I can't give you a solid answer either way, which does not make things better right now.
Yeah, there is an easier way down. It still involves climbing, but it's a lot easier than the tree.
I think I at least owe you an explanation before I leave.
No, it's okay.
On one hand, I don't know if I'm in a place for that kind of thing. You know, I have a lot going on. I have a habit of finding myself in danger, and I'm dealing with this has not been easy, and is seemingly potentially getting worse. And I also doesn't help that I don't have a lot of internal drive either, but that's not. I don't think that's for now. But on the other, all this having something to focus on, something to keep you grounded, and something to keep you happy helps with divisions. And it's maybe something I should start thinking about.
I wish you luck in finding something that makes you happy. I'll dislodge my rope so you can get down.
Alright.
As she kind of awkwardly shuffles past you and around you, trying to keep quite a wide berth, as she heads out onto the branch, where you can hear her climb up on top of the little house that she's made. Move around some of the branches, and well, you can see the shadow of something quite hefty and quite heavy falling over the edge as she kind of hops back down. It only really takes you, well, you'll still have to fall a little bit.
Alright.
It won't be as bad as if you fell from here, though.
Thank you.
Bye, Ran.
Right, okay, so it's before I go, can I like gingerly reach out and just try and put like a hand on her shoulder or something? Like,
He's going for the shoulder touch.
hey.
Ranaagash tries those moves that Bartak showed him a very long time ago. He then forgets that the repercussions is getting punched and he's 200 feet above the ground.
Don't know why, but
What a Chad way to die, though.
I immediately thought was that Bartak showed Ran how to kiss.
It's not always
I know.
about the money, Spider-Man. It's about the mitts, baby. Love the mitts.
Such a stupid fucking edit.
She does, I guess, allow the the hand on shoulder, though when you actually connect, that's when she kind of shudders out of the way.
I'll see you around. And maybe I'll find my something or even a someone. I'll just give her like a weak, awkward smile and then pick my hand up and try and find my way down, I guess.
How is he with rope and rope burn?
Good question. I have a feeling not very good. What am I
Okay.
gonna roll?
Give me Dex, and then give me a Constitution saving throw.
You really just woke up today and said Matthew will suffer.
Well, he's saying goodbye to everyone. It's got to be emotional and heartfelt and character development.
E.
Cool, so Dex is a 17. Con is not looking great, though.
Nope.
Ow, ouchie.
To be fair, that's like the first sub-10 roll I think I've had so far.
Can you give me a Dexterity saving throw?
I can indeed. Oh, that's... oh boy.
You can do it.
Can I?
I have once again realized I should not speak.
Craig should never open his mouth, ever, in his lifetime. Okay,
Once
so
again asking.
you might fall unconscious, Matthew.
Okay. It's fine. What are you rolling?
I need to... so that would be... 200... 170... 140. Okay. So about 140 feet from the ground.
Oh, right. Okay, that was height. Okay.
That's 14.
Not damage.
Yeah.
Not damage. About 140 feet from the ground, the rope burn on your hands starts to really burn. And you start to lose your physical resilience to be able to grab hold of the rope, or at least keep a grip to lower yourself down at a, I guess, comfortable speed. As you start to speed up, as your hands start to get hotter, and you try to almost stop yourself, hold on, grab on, anything just to stop yourself dead before you fall. However, you are unable to get a grip of the rope.
Okay.
You're on 60, aren't you? 20. You take 55 damage.
Not even close.
You got rocks dropped on your head, dealing exactly 5 damage.
Would I be able to healing word him while he falls?
You're not there.
I'm not this shit, sorry.
You're not. That'd be very awkward if you'd just be there the whole time.
That would have been really
Flux are
awkward.
just standing in the background.
Sorry, I was really listening. I didn't really think why I was there.
You will be able to obviously heal him at some point when he returns.
Apologies.
When
But
he
yeah.
hits the ground.
Ran, you have just hit the ground like a solid rock, taking 55 damage, falling 140 feet. That damage can be personified in any way you want.
Ow, ouchie.
I mean,
Good heavens.
Minecraft leg breaking noise.
I was gonna say I don't have many options here. It's like part of it's going to be rope burn, and part of it's going to be from just absolutely face planting it.
Blunt force trauma.
Mm-hmm.
I do enjoy a
Could
bit
you,
of
like-
blunt force trauma
Could he
in the
like
morning.
perfectly land like an Olympic gymnast, but he shattered his knees while he's done it?
He does a
I'd rather not let-
superhero,
So he
superhero
lands
landing.
like that, and he's just
That's a mood.
I would rather not crawl back to camp with just 2 shattered kneecaps.
I mean, you're gonna have shattered bones anyway.
I mean, yeah, but
Like
like,
less shattered, please.
yes.
Some ribs, an arm, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, getting lucky there.
Things just looking a bit wonky and slightly out of place, not quite straight anymore. As I guess you can hear a voice on the wind, she's probably seen you fall and is called after you, but you can't quite hear what she says.
Just like, sort of like, what's the appropriate verb here? What's the word? I don't know what the word is. Can I like awkwardly just pry myself off of the ground and just sort of look up in the sort of direction I think she is?
I mean, she's in panic. It's not the most graceful descent she's ever made, but it's better. As she gets probably about 60 foot off the ground, you can kind of see the end of the rope at that point, where she does fall the 60 feet. It's a bit of an ow for her, considering she's just been healed. A lot of her bones are already in a fragile state, but not so much as fragile as you are at the moment. And she kind of, I guess, more rushes over to you and then realizes what she's doing and kind of backs off a little bit. Are you okay? I'm sorry,
I'll be fine.
you should go and see Shotha. You should get that, you should get that looked at.
I will. Don't worry.
I'm sorry, I should have come down from the tree when you called my name.
Fine.
I'm really sorry.
It's fine.
I did just think the rope would be a bit easier.
It was, don't worry.
I guess by a second time. As you awkwardly wave at her and she kind of tries not to look at you as she feels really bad about dropping you 140 feet.
As I shall turn and limp my way back to camp.
As for my 3 boys, you'll have obviously finished packing up, you'll have finished sorting everything, organising everything, ready to go. You'll know where Ranaagash is, or will have gone to a certain degree. He'll have been gone for quite some time at this point, and when he does eventually return to the gang, to the 3 of you sitting just on the outskirts of camp, near the hunters' tents, he's looking pretty worse for wear. Like 5 hit points worse for wear.
Jesus Christ, man, what happened? Did you fall off a tree or something?
Yes.
It just plays the clip of Ranaagash falling off a tree again.
Oh, Jesus.
On the bright side, I found her, so we're good. No loose ends here.
That's a way to look at it.
You want to take a moment to sit down before we go?
Yeah, where's Shotha? And then he's like tried to sit down, but obviously he has 5 whole hit points, so it's not very graceful, and it's not very good. I run out of words.
Lots of breakages.
Yeah. Oof, ouch, owie, my bones.
Ouch, yow.
Would Paul like to heal?
Ran, dude.
Hmm?
Can I spare you a healing word?
I offer your healing word in these trying times. It would be appreciated, my man.
I'm gonna do it 6th level because my man needs it. Actually, I'll give you a cure wounds at 6th level.
Mm-hmm.
So that is 48. 23 hit points back.
We don't need these elders healing. We've got our own healer.
Quintupled my health and then some. So thank you.
You're very welcome, King.
Keep your head up.
Bruised and battered, but no longer broken. At least not physically.
Not yet.
Eidolon, what are you implying?
Well, there's still plenty of, campaign left, to my knowledge.
That is true.
He's got plenty of time to get battered, like, physically.
As would there be much conversation between the four of you before you packed up and left?
Not from me, at least. Ranaagash seems to have finished up his business, so before we get kicked out, we should
Walk out.
leave on our own terms.
Yep.
As the four of you on, for Ranaagash, very little hit points. Leave Myrr. You leave the encampment and start to head on the main road. Rather than following the forest trails, you start to move to, a familiar road for yourself, Ranaagash, one that you would have travelled quite a lot with your father. The road between the encampment and Kinreen. As from Kinreen, you then have access to the main roads and the rest of Ellerant, ready to start your journey anew, wherever you choose to go. Though, for now, we are going to take a short break. My boys...
Randy's to heal.
My boys have the effects of a long rest between now and the time we come back. Matthew, we will roll you some new portents in the break as well. As for, I guess, the jump cut, or for the cut through the break, we are going to skip you guys actually travelling to Kinreen, as nothing will really occur in that interim. Instead, when we come back from break today, we will be jumping back with you boys arriving back to Kinreen, or on the outskirts of Kinreen.
On the road again.
I regain my charge on the circlet.
Gasp! A single charge. As yes, you boys sort that in the interim, and we will see you all in a little bit.
What?
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 I'm looking at a model
What?
set, and there's some horses.
Oh, it's for Warhammer.
Good old fucking horses.
Can you put the horses away though, whilst I come back from break and play D&D?
That's the plan.
As we jump back to it, we jump back to the game, and my boys have updated their sheets as they will have had maybe 3 or 4 long rests in the interim, kind of taking that travel and cutting it a little bit, as you've seen my boys travel a lot in these 36 sessions. But for this... Go, Paul?
I think we trim out like maybe 4 or 5 sessions of just traveling.
That's true. You guys head through the forest where it finally thins and you come into the glade for Kinreen, where it's, at least for yourself, Ranaagash, the glade starts a lot sooner than you remember. As coming out and towards the forest road, there is quite a few felled trees. Obviously these are big trees, but near Kinreen they do get a bit smaller, a bit more manageable, at least for growing crops and harvesting lumber. These trees have been cut. There is quite a large plume of smoke coming from the centre of town, which kind of creates this almost ashy grey cloud that just seems to cling to the sky. You guys are coming here early afternoon, early kind of like noon, 1 o'clock, where the sky should be blue. Bless you, Ewan.
Thank you.
Where, yes, it is winter, so it'll be crisp, it'll be cold, but you should still be able to see the clear skies. You cannot. There is a grey overcast covering Kinreen. And, well, for Marcasar and Eidolon, with your passive perceptions, coming through the kind of western portion of town as I get my cardinal directions, through the caravan yard and into the town proper, the 4 of you will be able to see that the town hall has completely burned down. And for Eidolon and Marcasar, you'll be able to see that the buildings that wrap around the front side of it, so the southern side of it, also have quite a lot of people almost slumped against the wall. The town is eerily quiet, though there is the crackling of a few embers that remain from the smouldering ashes of the town hall remaining. As, yes, the 4 of you arrive into this scene in Kinreen. What do you do?
Well, I would say we'll go to the town hall, but there isn't a town hall anymore. Does it look like there's any sort of larger building that's still intact?
Well, you know that there is an inn in town, and at least the buildings that the inn is attached to are not burnt down.
I suppose unless anybody else would prefer to head anywhere else, we should probably head there.
Probably, yeah.
I'll probably let Ran lead though, because the people in this town did not like me, at the very least, too much when I was here.
As would you investigate on the way? Or would you just head straight there?
At the very least, I think we should probably head there, but just as we're walking there, just look around. There's not too much else.
Well, the kind of big thing obviously when you're walking down the road and into the main plaza area where the inn is, you notice that a lot of the buildings that are still intact, there are quite a lot of them, the doors on quite a few of them are completely broken. There are quite a few bodies that are slumped over either in the doorways or nearby the doorways. Not a lot of them are scattered in the streets. These are, I guess, not leftovers from when the Blighted attacked. These were probably a lot more recent, especially considering for Eidolon and Marcasar with your passive perception, the things that killed these people were not claw marks or bite marks or scratch marks or rusted, broken weaponries. These are clean cuts from people who know what they're doing. The town hall has been completely burned to the ground. There is a few cinders and ashes smouldering left. You don't really, upon cursory glance as you're passing through, obviously notice anything odd or strange about it other than it being a burned building, though you can still see, now in clear view, the pyre that was out the back that they were using to burn the bodies from the Blight attack. As you continue to come round to the rest stop and find more devastation of similar caliber, where places have windows broken, doors off hinges, bodies scattered either in the buildings, so in the main corridors, or just outside of the front doors. The rest stop, however, seems to be roughly intact. It has half a door rather than a full door, as, at least for a bit of relief for, well, Eidolon Marcasar, you can hear noise. It is very faint noise, but you can hear noise coming from inside. as you guys head in?
Yeah, cautiously.
Yeah. I'm gonna stay behind whoever's going in first.
Who is
I should
going
go
in first? Marksar?
Yeah.
Um,
You know me, the frontliner.
Obviously.
100% Marksar the frontliner. Taking all those blows and dying twice.
Exactly. You don't die twice if you're not a frontliner.
When you head in Marksar, obviously the others follow you. No one really pays you much mind. Ranaagash, you are quite quickly jumped when you get inside. Not like in a mean way, more hug
Yeah.
way. Panicked hug.
He gets mugged.
Give me all your money, Ran. I don't think that's very much.
Like 12 gold.
That's pretty good. As
Yeah.
the sight that the four of you are met with when you come into this tavern is there are 5 orcish hunters in here. Only 2 members, at least recognisable faces to the 4 of you, of the township of Kinreen are here. In the background there is Julian, so the son of the stable hand, the one that was helping out Frida, the one that was very cautious of Eidolon, rightfully so, stranger, you know. The one that jumps you, Ran, accosts him, kind of throwing her arms around you, is Valley. So the orcish owner of the Tulip and Brass, the half-orc female.
Mm-hmm.
As she kind of just looks at you with very teary eyes. Oh, thank God, Ran, you're okay. When you left, and we obviously knew you would be, but when the hunters came, they said that you were... I'm sorry, She kind of steps back from you. I'm just happy to see you're okay. And all of this... I'm sorry, there's not much I can offer you.
You don't have to offer us anything.
I mean, even a drink or something. Most of it's gone.
Fine.
Ran, I'm so sorry. I don't really know what happened, Julian. He didn't tell me a lot about what happened, and I only really saw... I don't even know why they were here. They came and they killed everyone and anyone who got in the way. Ranaagash, I'm sorry, they took your mother. I don't know where they went. They just appeared, and as quickly as they appeared, they disappeared, and Ran, I'm so sorry.
Took as in gone, or as in gone?
I don't know if she was I don't know if she was alive or not. I told you I didn't really see it. Julian, he's a bit shaken up. She kind of lowers her voice. They killed his father. But if you can talk to him, he was there. He was him and his dad. They were looking after your mum. I don't know what happened in the house. I just saw them take her, and I saw them disappear with her.
All right. Thank you.
There's not much hospitality, but you're welcome to stay and rest up. I have been trying to discuss with the hunters about the possibility of trying to get Julian back to the encampment. They're okay with the idea of me coming, not so much him, but I don't want to leave him behind, and I don't really want to stay here at the moment.
I'll see what I can do.
You don't have to, Ran. This is a lot for you. You don't have to do anything.
I know.
I'm sorry. As she kind of takes a step back and more looks at the rest of you. You're also welcome to stay. It's been difficult.
Is there anything you need from us? Any way we can help?
No, there's not much left and not much left to gather. I'm trying to convince some of the hunters that it would be better if Julian came with us to the encampment than leaving him here on his own, or even sending him somewhere else.
I won't press, because currently this appears to be a lot, but did you see who did this? Or is that questions it should be asked to, and points over at the man she's referencing?
I saw them. Most of them. There were maybe 8 of them, 9 of them. We were in the middle of moving some people. Ranaagash, your mum and Marcus, they got a letter from you, and Marcus came to get some of us and start to gather some caravans together so that we could start, moving supplies and people who were well enough to the encampment. We were gonna chance the roads, and your mum felt well enough, not physically, mind you, but mentally, to at least try and talk to some of the orcs on the way and see if at least we could get some safe passage there. And then these people arrived. I'd say soldiers, but the way that they acted, they were more like an army, dressed in silver and blue with an emblem I've never seen before. And there was this one, she was taller and broad, and I was confused at first. She had darker hair, and when she turned round and took a helm off, she had orcish blood. She had said she was here to help the sick, and, well, we listened. She found them in town hall and then ordered her men to kill them all, to cut down the trees, to build a pyre and to burn the building. Everyone was still inside, and she didn't seem to care. Katya, she tried to stop her, and she just hit her, knocked her clean into the wall, and called her. He went to go and check on her, and she was dead. She then ordered the town hall to be barricaded and burned to the ground, and she then started searching the rest of the buildings, looking for anyone else who was injured, anyone at all. Her men, people who would get in the way, they were just cut down. Everyone was just cut down, because why would we stand aside and let that happen? She was the only one I recognized. She was the only one that took her helmet off. She was the only one that spoke.
That's all.
And when she left, the only one she took was Ran's mother. I don't know why.
In which direction did they leave?
Just east of town, but they didn't get very far. They just... When I say they left, they just left. They disappeared. They arrived from nowhere, and they disappeared into nowhere.
Ran, ask what you need to ask. I'll be outside.
Alright. I think I'll just go over to Julian instead. Guess we have asked enough of her.
Julian is quite shaken when you go over to him. You can see that he is probably several times, if not 100 times over, been picking up a glass and polishing it and putting it down, and picking up the same glass and polishing it and putting it down. Very twitchy. Whereas when you come over, it's a very startled, drops glass smashes on floor. Sorry, Ran.
Fine.
I'm a little on edge. Is all. How are you?
Could be better, but I'm alive.
I guess you're here to ask about your mum. I saw you talking to Valley.
You don't have to tell me anything you're not comfortable with.
It's just. It was my dad. We had set up the stable, ready to go. We had a carriage set up to take your mum. Dad was getting ready to move her, and then those people showed up, and we could hear the shouting, the screaming, and Dad took your mum back upstairs, and he told her to stay quiet and stay put, and he told me to do the same. And they came in, they barged in, they tried to get up the stairs, and Dad wouldn't let them, and they just killed him. And I'm sorry, I should have done something, Ran. I stood there and I just watched them. They came and went from the house maybe once or twice, and then that orcish one, she came in and took one look at your mum and ordered your men to pick her up. I should have stopped them, I should have said something, and Ran, I'm sorry I didn't.
It's not your fault.
I should have tried something, anything. I just stood there with my mouth open like a fish, and
If you tried something, you likely wouldn't be here.
I just keep thinking maybe there would have been something. There's not much more I can say.
I said more than enough. Fine. Not an easy thing to talk about.
He kind of just stops. You can very much see him breaking down, where he just ends up sliding down the side of the bar wall and just sitting on the floor, like dropping his head between his knees. Almost muttering to himself, but just an apology over and over again. Whether it's to you or to himself, you're not too sure after the 10th or 11th time.
I think he needs his alone time. For now. Are the hunters still about?
They are. They're kind of more around one table, where you can see that they have quite a lot of ash and splinters on them, especially up their arms, where they've likely been helping move people or things, just looking for anyone. But they've kind of just obviously taken the time just to stop. They've likely not left because they're probably trying to convince Valley to go with them.
Mm-hmm.
But she's adamant that she's not going without Julian.
Walk over. Just addressing no one in particular, just... What's the plan?
We were hoping that we could return to the encampment, at least by now. We helped clear some of the mess, and... well, Valley and that boy are the only ones left. We've said she's welcome to come back with us, but she's stubborn enough to refuse unless we're taking that boy with us, but Chief doesn't want outsiders in the camp.
I think he'd be willing to waiver that rule. For now.
I mean, we only came here in the first place to pick up your mum, bastard.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't expect to come here and see, well, what we did.
No, that's fair, but I think he should go with you.
Another one kind of pipes up. Well, I don't know. He's not really in a position to travel, and we don't really have the luxury of time staying here. If you ask me, he needs proper help and a healer, and we ain't any of those.
No, but the encampment has some.
And they're a 4 or 5 day travel.
It's better than leaving him here.
And what if we do take him there, and then we're told to bring him back because outsiders are banned?
On whose authority? Who would tell you that?
Look, we know you're friends with the Chief Ran, but it's still his rules.
How long have you been gone from camp?
Probably maybe 4 or 5 days.
That's obviously before what the big what do we call it? Onslaught?
Nightmare.
Yeah, that works. A lot of things have changed since then. I know this group of outsiders, and he sort of lazily gesture over his arm to whoever the hell is still left, if any of them, or if not, just in the sort of general direction of outside, prove themselves to be mighty helpful. So I wouldn't imagine that rule is still in force.
Give me a persuasion.
What is the number? That is not actually a very high number.
Is it just your charisma, I imagine?
Yeah,
Is Ran actually persuasion?
he's not apparently.
I was gonna say, is he proficient in any like charisma save or charisma check? But
I believe I have only intimidation. Again, because half orc.
fork. As he kind of just look at you and shrug. Look, we're staying here for another couple of days anyway. Valley packs up some stuff. If the boy's all right to travel, then maybe Ran. But changed or not, I don't think he'll make it. We don't really have the stuff to deal with that.
We have to do something.
Then by all means, but we are not. Sorry, Ran. There's Eidolon, you're outside. Anyone joining him? Marksar, Wolfric?
I think Marksar would have gone outside.
Wolfric will have headed outside as well.
For it.
Go to Wolfric. Do you want to ask him or shall I?
You go ahead.
Eidolon, do you know these people who came here?
Oh, yeah. I only got the description for one of them, so I can't identify the others. But I know who was here.
Care to share?
The one person who I begged and pleaded would not be left in charge after Gairdre's dismissal. Which
Them
means they
being?
are in charge. Sorry, I think I cut you off there, Paul.
Yeah, them being. Who are they? What's their name?
Her name's Nulrir.
What do we know about her?
If you need a very simple explanation to describe exactly what type of person she is one of the only people on the wall who blame not Gairdre for what Gairdre did, but someone else.
That someone being you?
Astute, yes. I've never gotten on with her, so instead of blaming Gairdre, who she's been fond of for the longest time, she blamed literally anybody else, and I'm the only scapegoat being alive.
And the whole business of them appearing and disappearing as if out of nowhere.
As I mentioned before, I requested them to come here to deal with the injured.
They can teleport.
I prepared a summoning circle for them.
So can we assume that they've taken Ran's mother to the wall?
Yes, as there's no other place they would take her unless they were taking her outside to kill her. But Nulrir would have had no problem killing her in her bed.
What use would they have for Ranaagash's mother?
2 possibilities. If I've gleamed correctly, Ranaagash's mother is prophetic, much like Ranaagash. Though to what degree, I can't be certain. Though secondly, and probably more importantly, the type of blight she possessed was not exactly traditional. It was what Gairdre inflicted upon her. So they might have taken her back to study her, per se, which means, at the very least, I can assure Ranaagash that his mother will be safe.
But will she be, autopsied, experimented on?
No, because I know the person in charge, and the person in charge, hopefully, has not descended that far.
I guess there's some comfort in that.
I have turned against much of what I initially thought of my home, but one thing is not shaken, and that's the trust in the person who runs the bloody place. Obviously, I can't I'll wait for Ranaagash to get here.
So what's the play from here?
I don't know. I can't exactly take you folk on the wall.
I'm tired of having our journey dictated by just bad thing happens here, just go chase it. We're always chasing. We're never leading.
Hey, that's what we did for Myrr. We were at least ahead there.
True.
So what's your idea then?
I don't have any. My quest ends with the death of Girdra. So wherever he is, I guess I'm heading there. Beyond the wall, perhaps?
Well, he'll be over it, but even then I can't take you folk there.
There's not any other way into Ilvania.
No. So unless I go against what we've been building up for about 300 years, I don't know what I can say to you folk. It's not that it's physically impossible. We'd have to get through the wall, obviously, but
Seems
it's against
like,
what we stand for.
But it seems as if the only way to stop Girdra is to... If that's where he's hiding out and laying low, perhaps that's just we have to go to his territory.
Well, at least there we'd be ahead of him. Not waiting for him to come back out here.
I know that your whole life has been about not letting anyone be on the wall, but this might have to be the exception.
I've been making a lot of set exceptions as of late to what I know.
What's one more?
You see, the one more is the one that I'd be hung for.
I'm sure there's plenty. There's the amount of people that want to kill you. I'm sure hanging doesn't scare you.
Adding a civilization more isn't exactly the least imposing.
No.
I'll ask Ran when he gets out. And if he wants to go there, I can't exactly stop him if his mother's been taken.
I thought the people on the wall already wanted you for crimes anyway.
Excuse me?
I'm thinking back to an earlier episode. Weren't they like... No, that was the Unfortunate Sons. They were like trying to put a bounty out on you.
Yes. That was you, Paul.
But
You did that.
I know. But then like, no one actually wanted your bounty. They just like...
They were just gonna come kill you folk and take me back.
Yeah, but not punish you.
Well,
I never shared it.
it's on the list.
Exactly. If they're already punishing you, what's... You know... They'll just... Oh... He let people be on the wall. I guess we'll add that onto the list of punishments.
It's just the current list of punishments doesn't end with me dead, Marcusar.
Yeah. Oh well.
But if we go onto the wall to rescue Ranaagash's mother, we don't exactly have any other options afterwards than to go over,
Mm-hmm.
as they wouldn't let us all. So our only other place is to go forward.
The point of no return, the Rubicon of Elrond.
The way I think of it is, it's like those video games where it's like you make a choice, but then it like flashes you up with like an additional warning screen where it's like, if you make this choice,
Make sure that
Like,
you've
you
done
know,
make sure you've done everything that you want to do. You've completed all the side quests you want to complete before going any further.
I'm remembering the boat journey you have to do in Witcher 3 to Skellige.
yeah.
It's like save all your shit, you know, upgrade all you can.
you sure you
'Cause
want to
this-
go to the Isle of Mists?
Yeah,
It's
I
the
don't
ba-
miss that's
The battle for Hoover Dam.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's another good example.
Literally, it is basically a dam. It's a big wall.
Damn, but instead of water, it's just weird.
It's holding
Eldritch
back
shit.
evil eldritch shit.
Every villain is lemons.
Thank you.
As Ranaagash, would you head out of the rest stop to rejoin the gang at this point? TM?
Yeah.
Alright, simple question. What do you want to do?
You said they'd be safe.
And they should have been. You'll notice adequately I didn't promise, as I couldn't have been sure. I know, from my own experience, what should have happened here. And that wasn't what happened here. Feel every right to be angry, but understand that even if it's not to the same extent, this makes me angry, Ran, as this isn't what I've stood for.
What do you stand for?
By the right I've taken, it's the protection of the innocent and the ignorant. This is the protection of neither. Wanton murder took place here, which is not what I nor anybody up there should stand for.
Is there like a bit of debris nearby or something?
Yeah.
It'd be destroyed. Okay, good.
There's quite a
Alright.
lot of debris, mostly from obviously you had the attack from the Blighted Scourge, and then obviously whatever devastation followed. There is quite a bit of mess lying about.
Okay. Excellent. I shall take out my trusty hand axe, but rather than just go straight for the swing, I will also take out a runestone and sort of like, what? I don't know what there are. You know how you would light a flint and steel where you like,
Yeah, like
yeah,
strike it.
essentially, yeah, just strike it with the runestone a couple of times until it eventually catches with green fire, and I will then bring that down and just let the axe sink in and smolder for a bit. As I just bury my face in my hands and just, man, I've been waiting to use green flame blade, and I wish it was in better circumstances.
I mean, it's a cool use of it.
Green flame vent. So, what is it you want to do about it then?
We need to get her back.
I can provide you with some solace in the fact of she won't be hurt, she won't be injured, and she won't be... The person who did this is not the person who will be in charge of her safety.
Right. Okay.
But because I don't know what they've taken her exactly for, I can't derive any conclusion. I just know in the meantime she will be safe.
Right, so... Whoever ordered this was not associated with Gerdra, correct?
Not at all.
Alright.
But...
Can you?
Sorry. Even though they weren't associated with Gerdra, the person who did this, sympathetic is the term.
Right. That's fine. But from what Julian said, likely to do with the Blight, unless they know who my mother is, know what she's capable of, because the decision to take her was on site.
In that case, they might not have known what she was, but the people who have come here... you know that thing that you can do where you see magic?
Okay, yes.
Yeah. It's that, but rather permanent.
That's... That does not clarify things.
I just think honesty is the best thing for you right now.
And I one day, can I?
Not yet. So do you want to go there and get her back?
What else could I do? What other option do I have?
I'm not saying you have another one, I'm just providing a fair warning. Because your day needs to be that much worse. Where she'll be, we'll have to go onto the wall to get her. And once we're there, we don't really have any other option to come back over to this side.
Great.
Considering, as Marksar's adequately put it, I already have a nice list. I'm breaking another law if I'm taking you folk over, and then I'm taking our most ancient law and breaking it over my knee if I'm taking you completely over the wall, which would be our only option if we're up there.
As far as I see, our path lies in one direction, and it's to Aramba.
I simply want you to understand the severity of what this action has, what it weighs.
Take it from me, Eidolon, death ain't so bad.
Maybe death is the important part there, but for me it's also culture, it's history. 300 years and not a single person who hasn't been born there has stepped over.
If we don't stop Gerdra, the wall's gonna... Vanya's gonna come over the wall. That wall's coming down, and the only thing to stop it is for us to go over it.
What an awfully accurate conclusion, thank you.
Not very well put.
Then can I indulge you three in something that's probably evidently obvious already?
Fire away.
Shockingly, there isn't nothing on the other side of the wall, as the history books would say.
Shock.
Shock, horror, I'm aware. Though it's not exactly like it was killed and then's come back. It just never left.
A very important question. Would we be able to survive over the wall?
For a time.
Like, do the Watchmen go over the wall at
Well,
all?
Most don't, but my regiment did.
And how did you survive?
You see, this is the awkward part. We can't exactly just sneak through and get over by ourselves. How we got over with simple enchantments. Well, I say simple, they were simple to us. Magic is scarcely used upon the wall as it's a fucking tracking beacon for anything that's over there, but we had our means to protect ourselves for limited periods of time.
And is there one such enchantment that could keep us safe?
Yes, and for long enough to get us to where we'd likely need to go.
And do you know where we would need to go?
Right to the other side.
I'm not a geographer, but isn't Ilvania very, very big?
It's a city the size of a country.
Hmm.
The enchantment will last us long enough to get there and get back, as they were made for long missions. It's just we'll have to acquire that, which means that somehow we'll have to get permission to go over.
Do you have any allies on the wall?
The person who took over my regiment could try help us. I know at least 2 people will be on my side, but they're not in charge. And I can try appeal to the better judgment of the person who runs the place.
This, what was her name, sorry?
Bulwark.
Well, it's a start.
And if I can't appeal to her better judgment, we'll likely all die where we stand. By her hand.
Sounds pleasant.
She is when you get to know her.
I mean, there's no certainty that we'll make it out of all of this, so why not take the risk?
An interesting conclusion. But one
Maybe
I
it's-
can't agree with.
Maybe it's the dying twice. You come to terms with this sort of stuff.
Just whatever you do, if we do have to talk to her, do not talk to her like she's some lord. Or how we talked to the... What was it? Dynast. Was it Dynast? What was it? It was.
That was so long ago that we
It
were
really
Session 5 or 6, I think it was.
Wow. That's a
In fact,
throwback.
the best way to talk to her would be, as I turn to Wolfric, like you would anybody who's in charge of a battalion, a unit.
Blunt, direct, respectful, but not flowery.
You got it on the nose.
I'm not a fucking bootlicker.
Wolfric says it. Wolfric said ACAB.
I'm not willing to put up with shite. We're just trying
It's-
to get this done.
It's more you gave ample respect to the Dynast, which was correct. It's just more the warning it wouldn't work here.
I know, I plan on being respectful and civil. I don't plan on being nice.
Well, how long will it take us to get to Aranda?
Well, we'd head from here to Thansari, and then from there it's only about a day and a half to Aramba. We'll see it about half a day before we get there.
Well, unless there's any other business here.
I suggest we hop to it.
Ran, your friend won't be following us, will she?
Hopefully not. For all our sakes.